Hey, it's John.
Hi, it's David, your other co-commish.
So this is the Week 5 matchup recap for the Tequila Mockingbird Fantasy Football League.
So we're going to be doing things a little bit different from here on out. John's been doing a great job with making the videos for this past week.
Thank you.
Of course. But now that I'm done studying for my standardized exam, which is a long story, and you can ask me about it later, now we're going to be doing these videos together and bringing you all these types of updates, announcements, and whatnot. So speaking of announcements, we have our IR spot voting that's going on now in the chat, so please vote by this Saturday by 5 p.m. whether you're pro IR spot, nay IR spot, or you're just going to abstain.
We have our next meetup October 25th. It's going to be in the Woodbridge, Edison area. We should be meeting up around 12 o'clock, but we are not sure where exactly we're going to meet up. So look out for those kind of announcements.
Yeah. Well, that'll be coming as we stay tuned, but keep that open in your calendars.
So some notes about the Week 5. Only 4 players scored more than 30 points this week. We had Chase Claypool, Travis Fulgham, an Eagle fan.
That's a good guy.
Brandon Cooks came out of nowhere, and Ryan Tannehill on Tuesday night. The top 2 teams coming into this week are Alyssa and Steph.
So that's very, very good. The women are on top with that one.
Yeah.
And what's another crazy thing was that the closest margin of victory this week was 4.5 points. That's pretty crazy.
That is crazy. That's pretty crazy.
We've got some congratulations to go around for winners. James, Steph, Alyssa, Caesar, Damn It, Israel, and Paez.
Nope.
A.K.A. not, what do I mean? Oh, Paris. My bad. But not us, as you noticed with that list of names. So that kind of sucks, not going to lie. But 4 teams are 1 game away from having the top spot in the league. That's pretty close right now, given that it's Week 5, or the end of Week 5. We got 3 teams that are 2 games behind, and then we have 2 teams that are 3 games behind. So it's still anybody's game, really, which is how we like to have it, nice and competitive. So here is a breakdown of each of the matchups.
So for the Tej-Paris matchup, Todd Gurley went off for 25 points for Tej. Mo Alley Cox, unfortunately, didn't get a single point for Tej. That's tough. The Ravens defense balled out for 25 points. That's really good. And Lamar played well, but slightly underperformed.
And for Paris, obviously Zeke played well against the Giants. He kept eating, got those TDs. Logan Thomas underperformed against the Rams defense. James Crowder got Paris 25 points. I cannot remember the last time Crowder did that. Maybe like 2 seasons ago, maybe, if that. And we also got the Bills defense, who, unfortunately, took points away from Paris. So, yeah, that happened to me week 1 with the Vikings. So I feel you, Paris. I feel you.
In the Axel versus Caesar matchup, we had Pat Mahomes, who did Pat Mahomes things and scored 29 points. Mark Ingram had a tough matchup this week against the Cincinnati defense. D-Hop did D-Hop and scored 25 points. Zach Ertz had a tough matchup against the Steelers. I apologize.
Yeah, well, on top of that Steelers matchup, though, somebody who did do well was Miles Sanders. That's good for Caesar if he's even paying attention to any of what's going on this season, because he does not put in players. But Miles Sanders did well. Tyler Higbee underperformed against the football team defense. I said that right? Politically correct?
Yeah, sounds good.
Wonderful. Adam Thielen ripped it up against the Seahawks defense for 29 points. He was close to being part of that 30 club. But,
he's a monster.
Yeah, well, maybe next week. We'll see, because they got who's the matchup now for the Vikings this coming up week?
Atlanta.
That's
even better.
That's possible. Yeah, I can definitely see them going up. And then we got Robbie Gould, who had a tough time against Miami. But, do we really ask that much from our kickers?
Yeah. In the Joe versus Alyssa matchup, we have Big Ben, who scored Joe 21 points. Consistency. Lev Bell only scored 7 points against the Arizona defense. We'll talk about him a little later. Jared Cook scored a TD and got Joe 13 points. And DJ Chark underperformed against the Houston defense.
All right, and then now we also have Kyler Murray on Alyssa's team, who ended up rushing a TD in there on his own, unsurprisingly so, getting 26 points. Greg Olsen didn't play well against Minnesota, hasn't really been playing well this season. Maybe we consider a tight end change right there for Alyssa. Calvin Ridley, though, he got his game back and scored 21 points. So he's definitely at least doing well, keeping up for your lacking tight end. And then Naheem Hines didn't play well against the Cleveland defense. I mean, are we really that surprised? But then again, I feel you, Alyssa. I've got some flexes that are questionable this season.
In the Steph versus Piaz matchup,
Yes.
two married people going against each other. Look at that.
Congrats, guys, by the way.
Congrats all as well, yes. Russell Wilson went off for 24 points. Amari Cooper had a tough week against the Giants' defensive backs. T.Y. Hilton finally produced for Steph against Cleveland. And Malcolm Brown had a really tough week against the football defense.
And then for Pies' team, a.k.a. the losing team, Justin Jackson, which was his waiver wire pickup, scored him 14 points. That was a good pickup at least when you had Deontay Johnson, who unfortunately got injured early in the game, giving Chase Claypool basically the opportunity to get those 4 TDs.
Yep.
Kind of wish he didn't get hurt. Maybe the Eagles would have won. Who knows? Travis Kelce scored 24 points against Las Vegas. Money, Las Vegas. And Devin Singletary had a tough week against the Titans' run defense. Luckily, that game even happened in the end, right, John?
Yeah, true.
All right, and now next up is the my matchup versus Israel.
It's okay. It's okay, man. It's okay. I lost too.
So, Israel's team, Deshaun Watson balled out for 24 points. I already know that. George Kittle had a tough day against Miami. Wish he had a tougher day. Israel's running backs played well in their respective matchups. See, I mean, Kareem Hunt, definitely a good play. You know, Nick Chubb.
Chase Edmonds.
Yeah, Chase Edmonds, yeah. So he definitely had his, running backs that were, mid to late flyers that are producing for him. That shows good drafting skills. And then my matchup.
So Carson Wentz, played pretty well for you. Got you 17 points.
He did play well. For those of you who are just looking at the stats, I watched the game. He played well. We were within 2 points. Mm-hmm. But, of course, long field goals, they get missed.
David Johnson played pretty well, but just slightly underperformed. Mike Davis ripped through that Atlanta run defense for 29 points. So that was a good pickup, getting that over after CMC went down. And scary Terry McLaurin. Can he really be considered scary after this week?
That wasn't scary at all. The amount of points he got.
Tough week against the Rams, So my matchup versus James, which of course I lost. Josh Jacobs played really well against the Chiefs defense. And then Keenan Allen went down with an injury, but still scored 10 points for James on that Monday night game. Robbie Anderson looked really good again, scoring 19 points for James. The Chiefs defense gave up 40 points and actually hurt James with negative points. Sorry, man.
Those points will matter later in the season, because if the season ends early, we're going to go with best record and most points. True. So can't be giving away points. The opposite happened with your defense.
Yes.
Your defense, the Rams, got 14 points.
14 points.
That's a good setup. And Dalvin Cook went down with the injury, but still got 19 points before he went down.
Let's hope he comes back soon.
And or it depends. If you have A. Madison, you probably don't want him to come back. So let's see. You're gonna probably. You didn't pick up Madison, so yeah. So whoever did, that's better for them. DK Metcalf, though, he balled against that Minnesota defense.
Yep.
Very expectingly, scoring 27 points, John. That's great. See, that's a wide receiver the Eagles should have drafted instead of J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, but whatever. He could maybe turn out well, but still. Proven product versus unproven. You like proven. And then Hayden Hurst floundered it against his opponent for only 2 points. Sure does hurts.
It does.
Sure does.
It does.
It's okay. I think you're a winner, John.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But it's still a long way to go.
And those are our matchup summaries, guys. So right now, just a couple of fantasy updates to look up for Week 6 and going on. One question that we want to ask or we want to talk about is, where will Le'Veon Bell sign now that your Jets dropped him?
No.
What happened?
Why not
there,
just
John?
fire Gase? Fire Gase.
Yeah, they should have dropped Gase. There's a good case to be made there.
Yeah, So I think that Le'Veon should sign with the Chiefs. I think he's going to want to win a championship before he's done playing football. But that's just my take. If I was Le'Veon, that's where I'd go.
So I could agree with John's take, but because I have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. My gosh, that is a mouthful. So because I have him, I don't want him to sign with the Chiefs. Screw him. Fuck Le'Veon Bell. He's going to ruin the fantasy value of that man. And besides, I don't think they need him. I don't think their salary cap situation. Well, anybody could use him, but salary cap situation doesn't make sense. In my opinion, if I'm Le'Veon Bell, running backs don't have long shelf life. Never know what's going down with COVID. I just need to get my paychecks now. Go with Miami. They got the money, right? And they're doing really well right now, too.
Yeah.
Miami's looking good.
They could win the division. You never know.
Speaking of other all-stars that are having big news right now, Odell Beckham Jr., He was sent home with an unknown illness. What's that all about?
I don't know. It's crazy. I mean, like, is he COVID? Is it not COVID? Like, we don't know. We don't know.
Right?
Are they going to tell somebody if it is COVID?
I mean, HIPAA-wise, they shouldn't, right?
Well,
he's got that privacy, but then again, there's one thing we know about football is that HIPAA doesn't apply to football.
And COVID can spread if it is COVID, so it's tough to do.
That is very true.
The league had moved some games around after what happened with COVID and postponing games, so make sure that you're looking out for when the new games are and when your new matchups are. We have Week 6 coming up, so the teams that are on byes this week are the Raiders, the Chargers, the Seahawks, and the Saints.
Yeah, guys, so keep all of that up here. Keep it noted. Right now, the league is very close, but it's very early into the season, so it's still anybody's game.
That's true. All right, those are the matchup notes and recap of Week 5. We'll see you next week.
Take care, guys.
Take care, guys.